would expect from Walmart, this level of packaging. I think this to me feels like what I would expect would come from like DHgate or Temu or something. Is it a fake? Is it not? Why would Walmart, in my mind, dice with potentially getting sued by Hermes for launching a short-run series of bags that some of us would call fake?
They told us it was untouchable. The Birkin wasn't just a handbag, it was the handbag, a symbol of status, elegance, and exclusivity so powerful that even billionaires had to wait years just to get on the list. A flex so loud, it whispered. Owning one meant you'd made it, or at least that's what they wanted you to believe. But now, that illusion is unraveling faster than a knockoff zipper. Because rumors, no, evidence, just surfaced that Hermès, the French fashion powerhouse behind the Birkin, may have done the unthinkable, shipped their crown jewel bags straight to Walmart.
Alligator Farms has workshops in France, and most bags are made by a single artisan. So go ahead and buy your DHgate bag, whatever bag, and see how it holds up over the years. Trust me, Hermes is not concerned.
That's not a joke. The same Birkin, once cradled by royalty, influencers, and elites, might have been sitting on a pallet next to off-brand air fryers and half-price coolers. And if that wasn't explosive enough, Jane Birkin's own daughter is now suing Hermès, not over money, but over betrayal. Her mom's name wasn't just misused, it was dragged through the dirt in what's shaping up to be the luxury industry's biggest scandal in decades.
None of the brands these creators mention, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Chanel, especially Hermes, need to go to China for production. And here is why. Labels like Made in France and Made in Italy comes with strict restrictions. And brands at that level don't risk compromising that. It's just not worth it.
But this isn't just about a bag. This is about legacy theft, backdoor deals, elite hypocrisy, and the collapse of a carefully crafted illusion. And once you see how deep this scandal goes, you'll never look at a luxury label the same way again. Picture this: a pristine leather Birkin bag, hand-stitched by a single artisan in a Hermès workshop in France. It's supposed to be the kind of thing that gets locked in vaults or auctioned for six figures. Now imagine finding it, dumped in a discount warehouse with plastic wrap around it, no velvet box, no satin glove service, just cardboard and bubble wrap, like it came from a drop shipper on AliExpress. Sounds ridiculous, right? Until shipping manifests started surfacing. Real documents, not fake screen grabs, allegedly showing that Hermès inventory was being funneled into third-party supply chains. The destination? Warehouses used by Walmart and its subsidiaries. But the bags weren't labeled Birkin. They were white-labeled, rebranded under quiet, obscure names to hide their origin. Think high-end bags with just enough change to not look official, but still too perfect to be knockoffs. Why would Hermès do this? Because, allegedly, these were the almost perfects. Bags that didn't pass boutique inspection, a slightly misaligned stitch, a minor leather grain inconsistency. Not bad enough to burn, but not flawless enough to sell at full markup. In the past, Hermès reportedly destroyed these rejects to maintain the illusion of rarity. But insiders now claim the brand decided to cash in instead, quietly selling them off in bulk through third-party distributors. And somehow, they ended up at Walmart. But this wasn't some shipping error people noticed fast. TikTok sleuths and Reddit users started spotting Birkin-style bags with eerily accurate design features. The hardware matched, the stitching patterns matched, even the interior layouts matched. And those aren't things your average counterfeit gets right. These weren't fakes. These were real Birkins, just hidden behind a different label and routed through a backdoor system that avoided Hermès boutiques altogether. And if that sounds shady, you're not alone. The backlash was instant, but it wasn't just the fashion fans who were furious, because someone else had been watching this unfold. Someone with a lot more personal skin in the game. Charlotte Gainsbourg was never just another celebrity daughter. She's an artist, an actress, and a quiet icon in her own right. But more than anything, she's Jane Birkin's daughter, as in the Birkin. See, that bag wasn't just a brand move. It was named after her mother, Jane, after a chance meeting with Hermès' CEO on a flight in the 80s. The original design was inspired by her lifestyle, her personality. It became a status symbol, sure, but it was born out of real creative energy, real culture, real legacy. So when Charlotte found out that the same bag her mother's name was built into might have ended up next to $12 beach totes and ironic mugs on a Walmart shelf. She didn't just get mad, she declared war. According to insiders, Charlotte has launched a lawsuit that hits Hermès not just in the wallet, but at the soul of their brand. She's accusing them of brand desecration, misusing her mother's legacy for profit, betraying the values of exclusivity and craftsmanship that the Birkin stood for. This isn't just about selling discounted bags. It's about turning a name, her mother's name, into viral bait for a backroom clearance scheme. And Charlotte isn't keeping it quiet. She's calling out the entire fashion machine, not just Hermès, but any brand that treats legacy like it's a marketing prop. Her message is loud. You don't get to flip my mother's name for a quick check. And what's more chilling, Hermès hasn't said a word. No public denial, no damage control, no lawsuit against Walmart, just silence, which in today's world speaks volumes. Because when a legacy name is under fire and the brand behind it chooses not to defend it, that silence isn't professionalism, it's panic. And while Charlotte's lawsuit is gaining traction in legal circles, it's the public reaction that's setting fashion circles on fire. Influencers are scrubbing their Birkin photos. Stylists are dropping the bag from client looks. Celebrities are quietly archiving past posts. Why? Because now that bag doesn't scream elite. It screams scandal. And the damage? It's just beginning. This whole scandal could have stayed buried. Hermès had every reason to think no one would notice or care. After all, who would dare question the world's most elite fashion house? Who'd believe Walmart could even touch a Birkin, let alone sell one? Turns out the internet did. What started as a few TikTok clips showing suspiciously high-quality bags on Walmart reseller sites exploded into full-blown investigations. Reddit threads lit up overnight. Users weren't just speculating. They were analyzing serial codes, zooming in on stitch counts, comparing hardware finishes, even running reverse searches on vendor logistics. Some of these amateur sleuths were more detailed than actual luxury authentication services. And then the real bombshell dropped. Leaked shipping documents, inventory trails that showed high-end leather goods, eerily matching Hermès SKUs, being routed through obscure third-party logistics hubs tied to big-box retail chains. It wasn't just a one-time fluke. There was a pattern, consistent codes, matching routes, and the most dangerous detail? These rebranded bags weren't knockoffs. They had all the telltale signs of genuine Hermès craftsmanship, just not quite perfect. Too good to destroy, too flawed to sell at $25,000. So they were offloaded, quietly, systematically, and allegedly with Hermès knowledge, through clearance vendors and big box chains that would never dare name names. But the internet? Oh, they named names. People started asking the right questions. If these were real bags, why weren't they in boutiques? Why was there no official denial from Hermès? Why was Walmart deleting listings in the middle of the night? And maybe most chilling of all, why was no one from Hermès defending their most sacred product? What followed was a digital avalanche. Fashion YouTubers made expose videos. TikTok detectives posted side-by-side comparisons. Luxury resellers panicked as their buyers started pulling out. And Hermès still said nothing. That silence, more than anything, convinced people that something real was going on. Because in the luxury world, when your crown jewel is under fire, you speak. Unless, of course, you're hiding something. And that's when the story took an even darker turn. The real chaos didn't come from Reddit. It came from inside the building. Rumors began swirling about a former Hermès logistics manager, someone who didn't just suspect shady practices. They allegedly witnessed them firsthand. According to leaked reports, this person flagged unusual inventory routing back in early 2025. Batches of unsold Birkins were being diverted to third-party distributors, vendors that had no clear ties to any known luxury retailers. This manager allegedly raised concerns and was immediately let go. Think about that. You work at one of the most exclusive fashion houses on earth. You see products being sent to unknown destinations. You ask questions, and the next thing you know, you're out. That's not a red flag. That's a siren. Fast forward a few months, and leaked internal memos, shipping logs, and warehouse snapshots start making the rounds, all allegedly provided by the same whistleblower. The documents show connections between Hermès subcontractors and mass-market distributors, and the dots start lining up with what TikTok and Reddit users had already uncovered. This wasn't a case of fakes hitting the market. It was genuine Hermès bags, quietly rerouted to avoid destruction, repackaged under different SKUs, and sold for a fraction of their boutique price through backdoor backdoor deals. And guess where the trail led? Right to Walmart-affiliated warehouse vendors. It gets worse. According to the same source, Hermès had an internal practice of soft dumping seasonal overstock, items that hadn't sold quickly enough, by funneling them through third-party clearances under unrelated brand names. It was a quiet way to recoup losses without publicly devaluing their boutique presence. But when Birkins started getting caught in that same system, that's when the illusion shattered. Think about the impact. Thousands of Hermès loyalists, people who spent years and tens of thousands building up enough loyalty credit just to get offered a Birkin, now realizing those same bags were allegedly being sold behind their backs in bulk. For decades, Hermès created scarcity through manipulation. You had to earn a Birkin, buy scarves, shoes, perfumes, build a relationship with a sales associate, play the long game, wait, hope, and now it's all looking like smoke and mirrors. If the whistleblower is legit and the evidence is mounting, then the exclusivity wasn't about craftsmanship, it was about control. And the moment they saw a chance to quietly profit from leftover stock, that illusion collapsed. And Hermès still hasn't said a word, which tells us everything we need to know. If you check your favorite celebrity's Instagram feed right now, you might notice something strange. The Birkin bags, gone, archived, scrubbed, vanished without a trace. Influencers who used to flaunt their collections like badges of honor have suddenly gone silent. No more bag of the day selfies, no more closet tours with rows of pastel crocodile skin trophies. Stylists, the same ones who name-dropped Hermès like it was gospel, are now dodging interviews, ghosting fashion media, and frantically replacing luxury pulls with less controversial options. Why? Because the Birkin bag isn't just losing its exclusivity, it's becoming wrong. Once the ultimate flex, now it's the fashion world's biggest liability. And if you're a celebrity, your image depends on perception. If the perception is that you got played by a brand that secretly sold $30,000 handbags in bulk to discount vendors, that you were part of the hype machine and now look like a fool, you cut ties, quietly, fast. And that's exactly what's happening. In private group chats between stylists and luxury resellers, yes, those exist, messages are circulating like wildfire. Warnings, screenshots. Don't post the bag, they say. Clients are spooked. Keep it low profile. The panic isn't just about public image, it's financial. Some celebrities built entire aesthetics around their Birkin collections. Brands like Hermès fed into that image, supplying VIPs with rare, unreleased, and ultra-limited editions as part of the game. But now, those same celebs are allegedly being left in the dark, wondering if the bag they flexed on a red carpet was also available to someone shopping online next to a rollback tag. The mystique cracked, the exclusivity in question. And with resale markets already crashing, some Birkins dropping by 40% in private circles, no one wants to be caught holding the bag, literally. Even the rich are realizing the illusion may have been bigger than the luxury. Because if the Birkin isn't rare, it's just expensive leather. No different than a dozen other designer bags. Only now it comes with drama attached. And in Hollywood, image is everything. So the deletions continue. The distancing begins. And one thing is clear. The Birkin isn't just out of reach. It's out of style. For years, the Birkin wasn't just a status symbol. It was an investment. Buy one, wait 6 months, flip it for double. Some collectors treated them like blue-chip stocks. Others like luxury real estate. Whole reselling empires were built around the myth that Birkins would always go up in value because rarity, they said, always appreciates. But now, that market is in free fall. Private chat groups between luxury sellers are sounding the alarm. Messages like client pulled out last minute, price dropped again, buyer backed off, too much heat. Resellers are slashing prices left and right, trying to unload inventory before the scandal spreads further. And the panic is real, not just because of the Walmart rumors, but because the whole idea of exclusivity is collapsing in real time. Think about it. You spent tens of thousands on a rare Birkin, maybe even got one on consignment, or from a boutique after years of cultivating loyalty. You kept it pristine, in the box, like an asset. Maybe you were planning to flip it for a profit later. Now imagine waking up and seeing that same model, with identical stitching and hardware, appear in a TikTok from someone who bought it, from a third-party Walmart seller. Even if that's not your bag, even if it's slightly different, the damage is already done, because the resale game runs on perception. And right now, that perception is shattered. Buyers are pulling out. Auction houses are delaying listings. Private dealers resellers are halting Birkin promotions altogether until Hermès issues a statement, which still hasn't happened. And worst of all, there's no recovery plan. Hermès hasn't defended its distribution process. It hasn't provided clarity on the leaked documents. It hasn't even acknowledged Charlotte Gainsbourg's lawsuit. The silence is creating a vacuum, and that vacuum is being filled with chaos, speculation, and fear. The result? A brand built on control has lost its grip, and the fallout is spreading. Resellers who used to brag about record profits are now holding on to bags they can't move. Influencers are being asked to take down Birkin content by management. And casual collectors? They're starting to wonder if they've been tricked all along. Because once a luxury item becomes ordinary, it's no longer luxury. And for the first time in decades, the Birkin is looking ordinary. What's coming next could shake the entire luxury industry to its core. Hermès may be the first to fall, but they won't be the last. Because the moment one luxury giant gets exposed, the spotlight shifts. Suddenly, people aren't just asking questions about Birkins. They're questioning the entire fashion pyramid. Gucci, Dior, Louis Vuitton. These brands have all danced on the edge of controversy before. Outsourcing rumors, inflated prices, questionable marketing. But now, with Hermès allegedly caught red-handed in a backdoor clearance scandal, it's open season. TikTok, Reddit, and fashion YouTube are already deep in investigation mode, comparing manufacturing tags, supplier names, and distribution patterns across every major house. And what they're finding? It's not looking good. There are whispers, unconfirmed but persistent, about third-party manufacturing, even in brands that claim to be made in Italy. Limited edition drops showing up with suspicious variations, dead stock inventory vanishing from outlets, and reappearing rebranded online. The signs are there, and with the internet now trained to spot inconsistencies, there's nowhere left to hide. This isn't just a Hermès scandal, it's a luxury reckoning. Because here's the ugly truth no one at the top wants you to hear. Exclusivity is often an illusion, a carefully controlled myth, a magic trick. They don't sell you a product, they sell you status. They wrap leather in storytelling, slap a 5-figure price tag on it, and tell you only a chosen few can have it, if you play the game. But when the curtain gets pulled back, and you realize that rare item might have been sitting in a clearance warehouse under a different label, that's when the trick stops working. And if Hermès allegedly folded its standards for profit, what makes you think the rest won't? The industry is sweating. PR teams are scrambling. Distribution contracts are being quietly rewritten as we speak, because no one wants to be next. But it might already be too late. The question isn't if another luxury brand gets caught, it's when. Let's strip away the logos, the glossy promos, the boutique lighting, and the velvet ropes. At the end of the day, what are you really buying? A handbag or an identity? Because that's what luxury's really selling. The illusion of being above, better, rarer, untouchable. And the Birkin was the king of that illusion, the golden ticket to fashion heaven. But now, that illusion has cracks, deep ones. This scandal didn't just expose Hermès, it exposed us, the customers who bought into the hype, the influencers who turned handbags into status symbols, the media outlets who built careers praising it bags without ever asking where they came from. And yes, the resellers who flipped them like stocks, knowing full well that scarcity was being manufactured behind the scenes. We've all played a part in inflating a bubble that was never meant to last. And Charlotte Gainsbourg, she just popped it. Her lawsuit might not just be about legal damages. It might be symbolic, a final sharp reminder that legacy should never be for sale. That turning a name, her mother's name, into viral bait wasn't just a betrayal of trust. It was a betrayal of art, of culture, of authenticity. And here's the kicker. Hermès still hasn't spoken. No apology, no denial, no explanation, nothing. That silence, it's louder than any scandal. Because when your empire is built on exclusivity, and that exclusivity gets exposed as a carefully crafted fantasy, there's no recovery. No statement can fix it. No influencer can rehype it. No PR team can spin it. The Birkin isn't just a bag anymore. It's a cautionary tale. So ask yourself, did the illusion fool you? Did you fall for the hype? Or are you ready to start seeing luxury for what it really is? A story. One that's only as valuable as the truth behind it. And if that truth is starting to unravel, well, maybe it's time to stop buying the story.